Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Today, I'm nuts, I know, I'm totally nuts. Today I'm gonna do a, I love the holiday season. Today I'm gonna do like a mid-December wrap-up and review of the books that I've read. Yesterday, I got a comment on my Goodreads, and it said something to the effect of, I don't know who left it, I can't remember, but thank you for the comment. And she said, I missed your book reviews. And I was like, oh, you know, like I started 2017 and I said I was gonna be doing a book review for every book that I read, and that I was really doing it for the author, because unless an author contacts us directly and asks for the review, I think the majority of us, and I don't wanna generalize it, but I think the majority of the people that I watch at least, we don't do specific book reviews of, each book that we read. And I had started off by, doing that, but the problem was that they weren't received really well. And I thought, well, maybe people don't want to watch them, even if they're spoiler-free, because they think that it will ruin their idea of what this book is going to be about going into it or whatever. And so if you guys would like to see me do book reviews, going into 2018, I have no problem doing that. I really enjoy doing the book reviews. I don't really care about the views they get or the views they don't get. I just like doing them. It's, I spend so much time, being involved in a book that when I'm done with it, I like to discuss it other than just in a wrap-up, if that makes sense. But these books that I'm going to talk about today, I am just going to do like a quick review on. And if there's any of these books that you'd like to see a longer review on, let me know and I can do that. I wanted to tell you about the book that I'm currently listening to on Audible, and that is Katherine Anderson's The Christmas Room. So before we get into this wrap up, I just want you guys to know the majority of the books, with the exception of one Halloween book, the majority of the books that I have read in December are Christmas books. I never really read a lot of holiday books, and last year, I think, was it 2 years ago? I got like a Debbie McComber book because I wanted to read something Christmassy. It was so bad. Okay, so it was the Dashing Through the Snow one. Anyway, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was pretty bad. So anyway, and then last year I read, was it last year or the year before, My True Love Gave to Me, by the anthology edited by Stephanie Perkins, and I loved it. I think it was 2 years ago maybe. But anyway, so this year I wanted to read like a lot of different like holiday books. And I've listened to a lot on Audible, and I've read a lot, and I've received a lot as gifts. So I need to do a haul too, because I've got a ton of books over there. But let me tell you about this book, Katherine Anderson, The Christmas Room. So this is probably the most highly marketed Christmas book out there right now. Every time I get on Goodreads, it's sponsored. It's at every store I go to, front and center, and I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't know anything about Katherine Anderson. There she is, Katherine Anderson. And so anyway, oh, sorry, Katherine Anderson, I'm hurting your book. I actually decided, because I got some extra credits on my Audible, I am listening to it on Audible. And I have to tell you, I thought it would be really cheesy going into it, but I really, really like it. It's like, so it's about this guy, I'm not very far into it. It's about this guy, and he lives with his mom and his son in a trailer because they're building a house in Montana. Is it Montana or Wyoming? I'm almost positive it's Montana. Does it say? Montana. And then, like, he falls in love with this girl that he shouldn't be in love with because her dad runs this ranch and he doesn't want her with any man. So it's like, that's the premise of the story going into it. But, like, the background story on the characters is so developed that I, like, instantly kind of fell in love with these characters. And I was like, I really like this book. So if you guys want something kind of homey and cute to read during the Christmas season, it's also about a blizzard, which I love any storm stories. Go check out Katherine Anderson's The Christmas Room. I saw it at Meijer, Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere, and it's all over Goodreads. So, I mean, I'm like literally probably only 50 pages into it, but I really like it. All right, so let's go into the books that this is going to be a long wrap-up. I'm 4 minutes into this, and I haven't even, some people's videos are only 4 minutes long. All right. Number one, A Very, Very Bad Thing by Jeffrey Self. That was the first book that I read this month. I finished it on 12/3. So anyway, I read Drag Teen by Jeffrey Self last year. I love this guy. I absolutely love Jeffrey Self as an author. And the first book, Drag Teen, I felt like it was very, like, I don't know, like, the shtick was cute, but, like, it didn't feel very real to me. This one feels very, very real. And on the heels of reading Autobiography, A Very, Very Bad Thing is very similar to that. It deals with, like, you know, like religiosity and coming out and all of that kind of stuff. Here, I will read you what it says here below. From the author of Drag Teen, a startling novel about the complexities of identity and of truth, Marley doesn't just want to be labeled a gay kid, but he doesn't have much else going on. He doesn't have any hobbies or interests. He's the only kid he knows without a passion. Until Christopher comes to town. He's smart, cute, gay, and the son of the country's most famous, most bigoted television evangelist. And so it goes into like their kind of relationship that develops. Now, I will tell you, if you don't like insta love, this book is literally like insta love on page 2. Seriously. Like they meet and fall in love. Like, hi, how are you? I love you. I mean, it's like that kind of insta love. But he kind of has to do that for the story to develop the way that it does. So I understand why he does that. And I don't mind insta love. And I'm not ruining it for you by telling you that. This kid has a history of going to those Pray the Gay Away camps, and that's very much what it is. I will tell you, if you have like triggers, there is suicide in this book, but it's not suicide. But anyway, just trigger warning of mental health issues going into this book. I thought the book was fantastically done. I thought it was really, really well done. And but they do talk about those issues. They do talk about coming out and the safety of coming out and all that family acceptance. And I just thought it was just done so, so well. I was so impressed with it. And I ended up giving it 5 stars. And my review said, oh my God, this book, so powerful, so profound, and so important. Number 2, my next book that I finished on the 8th of December was Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Okay, I want to see this movie so bad, and I loved this book. I cannot believe I have waited so long to read this book, okay? Everybody and their mother and their brother and their groundhog and their hamster and their ferret and everybody has told me to read this book and their goldfish. And I finally read it. I've had it forever. Look, I love this. I got it at, it says 10. I don't know what that means, 10, but that's 10. I got it at Half Price Books and I've had it forever. I love Augie so much, and I just love the whole family, and don't tell me, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I want to do that over the holiday break. So I love, 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 love this book, and I want to read more of her stuff, so I'm really excited about it. Okay, then the next book that I read was Lake Wobegon Days by Garrison Keillor, and so I read this book because my mom and I, back in the day, would listen to news from Lake Wobegon. Do you guys remember that? It used to be on National Public Radio. And my mom and I would listen to it, I think it was on every Sunday night while we would eat like chili dinners or meatloaf. Very homey, you know. I loved that growing up and having the dinner. And we would listen to Thistle and Shamrock with Fiona. What was her name? Anyway, I loved that. We listened to a lot of National Public Radio in our house when I was growing up. My mom loved it. So I loved Garrison Keillor's stories, okay? Now, I have to tell you, I did not love Lake Wobegon Days. I was so confused for most of it, honestly. It's just stories from the town. I gave it 5 stars because it's so beautifully written. I mean, Garrison Keillor is, I think one of our most beautiful authors. I mean, he writes so beautifully. He's one of our most profound authors of, you know, of our generation and our time. And I think that he's doing something that nobody else is doing. This very, you know, colloquial kind of, you know, I don't know. It's just the writing is so well done and so beautiful. But it's also very much like, you know, Susie Jean lived down the street and, you know, her husband died when she was 4. I mean, it's just like, it's story. And it's a little overkill at some point. So I gave it 5 stars, but I said on here, just amazing, the consummate storyteller, but it just was a lot. It just was a lot. The next book that I read was The Christmas Box by Richard Paul Evans. Now, I have heard of this book. I've actually heard of the made-for-TV movie, too, of which I have on my DVR to record on Saturday, because I haven't seen it. It was really good, you guys. I gave it 5 stars. I was really, here, I think I said something about it being cheesy. I thought this would be corny, but I really loved it, my full review. Okay, so I was really surprised by this book. It was very short. I listened to it on Audible, and it was like an hour and a half total. And it was fantastic. It really encompassed the true spirit of Christmas. And I don't know, I'm just glad I read it, because there's 3 in the series. I haven't read the other 2, but I don't think they're as Christmassy. So it's about this guy and his wife. It's about, I think, Richard Paul Evans and his wife, and they have a small daughter, and they're very poor, and so they go and they live with this woman, and they're going to take care of her at Christmas time, and she's very sick, and I don't want to tell you the rest of it, but it's fantastic. It just really is fantastic, and very endearing, and of course, I love any of those kind of tearjerker books, especially at Christmas time. And then the next book, all these are 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. The next one I read was A Christmas Blizzard by Garrison Keillor. What's funny about this is that I had bought this on like CD like years ago, and I had it somewhere in my basement. I don't know what happened to it. So I got it on Audible, I think on sale, because they had this big sale on Audible. And it's about this rich guy from Chicago, and he like invented this stuff. Anyway, I don't want to give you guys all the background on it because that's really funny. But his wife, like, he hates Christmas, and his wife loves Christmas, and she's like on all the boards. Like, she's on the board of the Christmas Carol, on the board of the Nutcracker, and so she kind of like feigns illness, or she is sick, but she like he wants to go to Hawaii for Christmas. And so at the last minute, his uncle, who he grew up loving, is dying, and I think it's in like South Dakota. So he has to go there to like see his uncle, but when he gets there, like his uncle's not really dying. Like, it is so good, you guys. I love the way that I did not like Garrison Keillor's little stories. I love this because what it is I mean, Garrison Keillor's story, like Lake Wobegon days, is very much like him growing up in Lake Wobegon and like the stories weaving through it. Christmas Blizzard, similarly, is like this guy's story and then all of these side people's stories, okay? Let me just tell you, one of the things I love is when an author takes artistic license and just spins something out. The last, literally, I don't know, like 5 pages of this book, I was like, what just happened? Like, what? Like, this is crazy town, right? It is such a good book. I loved it so much. You guys, read The Christmas Blizzard by Garrison Keillor. Just trust me. It is a really good Christmas read, and it's very short, too. Okay, and then on 12/13, I finished Trick or Treat by Richie Tankersley Cusick. I gave it 3 stars. It's cute. It's about this girl named Martha, and she moves into this house with her dad and her stepmom and her stepbrother Connor, and literally, like, the day they move in there, the dad gets a call that he and his new wife have to go to Hawaii because he's a photographer, and they're gone for the whole book. I'm like, seriously? This is like some bad, like, 80s, late 70s made-for-TV show. And so she and her stepbrother, who she doesn't really like, and she's creeped out by, they're like stuck in this house where they find out that this girl got killed, and it's just, it's bad. It's really bad, but it's so bad it's good. And so if you want a good Halloween book to read next year, write that down. Trick or Treat. Anyway, 3 stars. Okay, the next book that I got and I read was The Christmas Train by David Baldacci. Now, I told this on my vlog one night. If you don't know, I have a vlog channel. I also have a channel where I'm telling stories of my life. Today I did 25 lessons I've learned from my life, from my mother. But anyway, I also have a drama channel, in case you like drama. But I talked about this on my vlog, A Christmas Train, years ago, when I got called in. I was a supervisor of a drug treatment program for teenagers. And I got called in on Christmas Eve to work 3rd shift. You want to talk about pissed off? I was pissed, okay? Somebody no-showed and I had to go in and work it by myself. And I had just happened to pick up The Christmas Train by David Baldacci. And I remember I sat there the whole night and I read the whole thing like in one setting. Well, I was just literally waiting for the kids to wake up the next morning so I could go home. And I don't remember anything about this book from when I read it before. I listened to it on Audible. It was fantastic. It was hilarious. It was a really endearing tale. It was 10 times better than anything else by David Baldacci that I read, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really well done. And it's a Christmas adventure. It's about this train, like these people that get on this Amtrak train, and there were 2 of them actually, one from Washington to Chicago, Washington, D.C., and the other one from Chicago to L.A., and it's like this whole contrived mystery that happens on there. So like Murder on the Orient Express meets like Smoky Mountain Christmas, meets North by Northwest, because he talks about that through the whole thing. It's really good, you guys. I loved it. So anyway, I gave it 5 stars. Why not? It's the Christmas season. Okay, the next book was Wishin' and Hopin' by Wally Lamb. And did I just kick this? Oh, sorry. Wishin' and Hopin' by Wally Lamb. Wally Lamb wrote She's Come Undone and This Much I Know Is True and a couple other books. I love him. He is one of the most phenomenal writers I have ever read in my entire life. She's Come Undone literally changed my life. And so I didn't really know what to expect going into Wishin' and Hopin'. And it's about this Italian kid. And he is 3rd cousin with Annette Funicello from the Mickey Mouse Club. And his last name's Funicello in it. And so it's about like him in the 50s. And he and his sister is going to this Catholic. It's about him at this Catholic school. It's so funny, you guys. It is so endearing and so funny. There is a scene at the end. So I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but you guys have got to read this book. It was so, so, so good. There was a scene at the end They have a French substitute, she's from Quebec, substitute teacher, and she wants to do these plays, these nativity scenes where they don't move, and these two girls are fighting over the baby Jesus. It's so, which I don't even want to tell you what ends up being the baby Jesus. It is so funny. It is one of the best books. It is one of the best Christmas books and one of the best books I have ever read in my entire life. It was so, so good. So if you want like a very funny, cute read, it is that. I mean, it is like, I was literally just tearjerker. It was so good. Okay, and then I read The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. I did not love it, you guys. I thought it was dumb. I'm sorry, I didn't. I know people are gonna be like, oh! I thought it was very, very dark. The whole part about the robber girl saying to the other girl that she was gonna poke her with a knife and stuff, I just was like, what am I reading? Like, do people really read these to their kids? It was so sick and dark, and I know that people talk about like, Grimm's fairy tales and stuff being really dark. I didn't like it. I gave it 4 stars because I mean it's Hans Christian Andersen. I couldn't give it 2 stars, but it was bad. I didn't like it. Okay, and then the last book that I've read this month so far is Jacob T. Marley, and it is by R. William Bennett. Fantastic counterpart to The Christmas Carol. So it's basically how did Jacob Marley end up as the ghost in A Christmas Carol, and his relationship with Ebenezer Scrooge, and what happened to Ebenezer Scrooge after A Christmas Carol ended. It is fantastic. It seems like it's written by Charles Dickens, you guys. It is so, so, so beautifully written. It is just absolutely fantastic. I loved it. The cover is the door knocker from Scrooge's door, and it's a beautiful cover. You guys, you got to read it. Jacob T. Marley. It's fantastic. If you love A Christmas Carol, read Jacob T. Marley. And so I think that's it. I read so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books so far in December. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow. Anyways, I will be back tomorrow. I love you guys, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Bye.